Hey guys, it's with a heavy heart that I announced that Michael Gambon sadly passed away, and for us Harry Potter fans, this is big because Michael Gambon was the one who played Dumbledore for the majority of the films. Richard Harris played Dumbledore for two films, and Michael Gambon was brought on to play him for the rest of the films. It's really saddening, and frankly, I don't know Michael Gambon from anything else but Harry Potter, and I think that goes to show that he did the role really well, despite some lapses, shall we say. Um, Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? That bit always kind of was a bit of a controversial moment. Um, it's weird because I've always seen, like, you see the both actors who played Dumbledore are two very different sides of the character. You have the wise old sage, and then you have the more how do you say it? What's the word? Well, basically, he's the calm and collected side of the character. And probably the thing that makes me appreciate Michael Gambon the most is probably his relationship with the other actors. I heard he had a really strong friendship with Alan Rickman, and he was very much a he embodied Dumbledore even off set, or even when they're doing like joke takes. I remember there was a behind the scenes thing where they were talking about in Prison of Azkaban, when they were talking about they were filming a Great Hall scene, and the director was asked by Daniel Radcliffe to have his sleeping bag placed next to a girl he had a crush on, which is pretty interesting. Which is already that's a pretty fun little fact I didn't know about. Um, and then they were doing a take, and it turns out that Michael Gambon and Alan Rickman and the director who were in on it, they had put a fart machine in Daniel Radcliffe's sleeping bag. And Michael Gambon was trying to do the line, and he's just constantly pressing the button. And then he finally breaks, and the giggle is everything. It gives me like so much joy to see that Michael Gambon was capable of, giggling as Dumbledore would. And I appreciate that probably more than most people. And I think it's just absolutely wonderful. His first scene as Dumbledore was also left a heavy impression because he basically, goes through the order of business, but then he plays like the role, like he gets serious about talking about the Dementors, and he has one of the more memorable quotes. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. And that basically embodies, like, that should be like a slogan for anybody who is suffering depression, because that is pretty much the one quote that makes me probably smile the biggest. And it's probably the quote that I remember from Dumbledore the most. Of course, Dumbledore also has another memorable moment, which is his fight with Voldemort, which is considered to be one of the best scenes is probably the best scene in Order of the Phoenix. Not to mention, there's also the fact that he basically takes off with Fox, and Fox does this whole flash and bang, and boom, they're gone. I think that's a brilliant, and I love what Kingsley says. You may not like it, Minister, but you can't deny Dumbledore's got style, and it screams to the level of attention to detail they did for Dumbledore's character to be able to do that. and now, well, now both character and actor have passed away. So, which is really sad. And I hope that what we can take from this as well is that despite the fact that, J.K. Rowling has been very controversial in recent years, but let's not forget she's the one who created this universe, and it was her books that led to the creation of, the production of the movies. So, but as I've always said, especially, this comes for more regarding Umbridge, but hate the character, not the actor. In this case, it would be, if you want to hate on J.K. Rowling, that's fine, but don't hate on the universe she created, because it is still it's a wonderful universe, and it got a whole generation of kids, myself included, my generation especially, to read again. There's also the scene where Harry looks into Snape's memories through the pensieve, and basically Dumbledore explains everything, like what happened that night in Godric's Hollow, where basically the entire reason why Harry it was still alive. Wow, not just, Lily's protection, but also because on that night when Voldemort went to kill Harry, the curse rebounded, as we know. But in that moment, a part of Voldemort's soul latched itself onto the only living thing it could find, Harry himself. That's the reason for everything. That's the reason why he could talk to snakes. That's the reason why he could see into Voldemort's mind. Basically, a part of Voldemort lives inside Harry, and Dumbledore was basically says when the time comes, Harry has to die, because that Harry was the accidental Horcrux that Voldemort never intended to create, and Voldemort himself has to do it, and he has to do it but he has to do it when he's at his most vulnerable, which is the imperative part. And also, it's a great scene for Alan Rickman, because he realizes, you've been raising Harry like a pig for slaughter, and it's a wonderful scene. It's not just a great scene for Snape, but also for Dumbledore, for Michael Gambon. It's brilliant, I think. So yeah, so thank you, Sir Michael. Wherever you are, I hope you are just as cryptic, and I hope you are just as, I hope wherever you are at peace. That's what I'm hoping, and that's all I ask for, and that's what we Harry Potter fans are asking for. And I hope you and Richard Harris are having a good conversation, and I hope you find Alan Rickman there too, because you two have a lot to talk about. So yeah, thank you, Sir Michael, and may you rest in peace.